Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers with Harriette Cole. I'm so happy to have you here today. We have a very special guest, a woman I met through my big sister Susan in California many, many moons ago, and she's been inspiring me ever since the day we met. She is Tina Lifford, better known for some of you as Aunt Vi from Queen Sugar. Yeah, I know you love Aunt Vi. I do too. She is holding it down on Queen Sugar so many seasons in, it's really quite fantastic. But not only is she doing that, she has a project that is near and dear to her heart, her inner fitness work, which helps women and whoever tunes in to really go inside deep and figure out how to live their best life. And I want to talk to her about all of that because with Dream Leapers, I am all about going from the inside out in order to create your best life. So please join me right now in welcoming Tina Lifford.
Hey, Harriet.
Hi, it's so nice to be with
It
you. How
is.
are you?
It's wonderful to see you. Your
Uh,
listeners don't know this, but you sound so much like your sister. You know, that when I hear your voice, it's like visiting your sister.
it's really funny. So there are three of us, and we all kind of sound alike. And sometimes our mother, who is 92 years old, which is such an incredible blessing, sometimes
Yes.
she'll mix us up. Who am I talking to? And when it happened for us, Tina, when I was like, am I hearing myself or is it one of you? I realized, okay, it's not just because mama's old, it's because we sound alike.
Yes. You sound alike. You sound alike. You look alike. What was that
It's
Patty
great.
Duke? That Patty Duke intro. You know,
Yeah.
they look alike. They
Yeah.
sound
I
alike.
do remember that.
Sometimes
That's
they
so
even act
funny.
alike.
That's so funny. So first I have to talk about Queen Sugar because what a phenomenon. This incredible story. So for anybody who doesn't watch it, I'll just share a little bit of what it is. And the wonderful thing is now with the nature of how television works and on demand, you can watch everything. You can go back to the beginning and watch up until this season, which sadly they're saying is your last. I don't understand that, but anyway, it's a story of a family who happens to be a black family with roots in the South and all of the struggles and challenges and feelings and experiences that any family can have, but so richly told through a black lens. And you are a very important person, character in this drama, Aunt Vi. And everybody's got an Aunt Vi. So tell us who is Aunt Vi? Excuse me, Aunt Vi.
Yeah, well, I think that you actually said it very, very well. And I think that part of the attraction, the magnetism of Queen Sugar is that indeed you have a family that happens to be Black. You have this family rooted in the South, and there's all of this very rich and accurate and current history, current affairs and history that this show seamlessly touches on. And one of the many groundbreaking things that Queen Sugar has done is it's brought to life this 60-year-old woman rendered in a 360-degree life. We've never seen that on television
That's
before.
true.
And we've certainly never seen it in blackface, right?
Mhm.
With someone who looks like me. And uh, um, Aunt Vi I woke up one day, probably in like season 2, and realized, oh my God, Aunt Vi is actually a archetype.
Yeah,
She is this essence, this feeling, this role within families across ethnicities. We all know an Aunt Vi or have an Aunt Vi, or are an Aunt Vi in some way. And so for Ava DuVernay and Oprah Winfrey, um, to be women of color, who have love and appreciation for their culture, and for Oprah to be positioned to be able to green light this show, which would never have made it to the air, right? I mean, the show would never have made it to the
That's
air
true.
if Oprah did not exist, and certainly if if Ava's lens wasn't as clear sighted as it is. But
Mhm.
here we are, and
Yeah.
it's been my blessing.
And 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 I think ours as well, because as you point out, just looking at women in film and television, generally we talk about this all the time in the industry, that women have a lifespan that usually ends at about 35, 40. Really, if you look at actresses over the generations, by the time you get to 40, you at least pause for maybe 30 years, and then you can come back as an elder, but for the most part you're kind of washed up. And we see her in early seasons fall in love, and we see her having a romantic relationship, and now we see her with a seasoned romantic relationship with her husband, and the subtleties of relationship that occur in a long-standing relationship. Things that, first of all, a lot of folks don't even believe that black love exists, and that black love with older people exists. And you get to show it all. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I feel honored, and um, I take great pride, not as in ownership, but pride in having such a rich opportunity at my feet, and I take it seriously.
Now, you've worked on a lot of projects. What stands out as different in this? You've mentioned Ava DuVernay is creating this, and has the vision that has that sets the tone. It is on the Oprah Winfrey Network. But what is different or similar to other productions that you've worked on?
Well, I'll start by saying I've been fortunate. I've
Hmm.
had a number of good opportunities and good experiences. This is a exceptional experience for all of the reasons that we just said, without actually saying, this is my first time working with with executive producers who are Black.
Hmm.
You know, my first time in a show whose sensibility is actually rooted in my life,
Hmm.
rooted in my history. Um, it's exceptional because every single day, and there is no exaggeration in that statement, every single day that I have stepped on the stage for work for Queen Sugar, I've stepped into um, an ensemble where there are no egos. We all show up about the work. We all love watching one another work. We all come to the work wanting to bring the most open and honest and truthful, uh, you know, words and actions to these characters. My all of my executive producers are Black.
Wow.
Every last one of them. Well, no, there's a wonderful woman by the name of Carla Gardini. I think that's her last name. Um, and she is not. But the creator, the person who actually could green light it, our on the ground UPM, who is now Ava DuVernay's president of Array, you know, all of the major um, um, decision makers are Black. And then Ava does this amazing thing. She turns Queen Sugar into a entry point for women, not just women of color, but women. Every single episode of Queen Sugar has been directed by a woman.
Wow, I did not know that.
Ava has single-handedly upped the membership of women in the DGA because
Wow.
yeah, because she was confronted with that, catch 22. You can be a independent storyteller, filmmaker, have an amazing film out there in the world. But if you haven't done an episode of television, you can't get an episode of television.
Right.
And so it's a way in which women have been sort of kept out of the marketplace. And Ava went in and said every single episode will be directed by a woman. And she tapped all of this amazing talent that she worked with, when she was in the independent film market. And, you know, every single episode is being seen through, the eyes of a woman.
That's a powerful statement. I'm thinking of the subtleties of the production. And in this season, the production was created during the depths of COVID, and you see many people are wearing masks. It's just real, and you see what's happening at that time. There's a moment in this season that was so tender for me, just in looking at what happens in a community. So when the community is coming together to provide vaccinations for folks, and then, like what happened all over the country, everybody came. And in this case, all the white folks came, especially people who are not from that community. It was just to be for that community. And what we witnessed was a complexity of experiences and emotions. Of course, everyone wants to be vaccinated. All these people stayed in line forever. Some of them weren't from the community, but they were hoping, praying, begging to be able to get a vaccination. Here are the people from the community wanting to make sure that longtime community members got their vaccinations, elders, people with predispositions, and the black folk, because nobody was looking out for them. And we got to see all kinds of subtleties and maybe not so subtle of everybody wanting what they needed, and then folks stepping on each other's toes. Racism comes in, but also even with this family, like, no, I do want to give priority to my people, like you've always given priority to yours. Talk about how that came to be, because it was really powerful.
Well, came to be, of course, is through the writers' room. One of the things that our writers' room just really needs to be acknowledged for is the degree to which they have been tracking, what is happening in the world, what is happening in the South to Black farmers. Our stories are full of real life events, things that are happening today. These aren't just imagined, stories. These are stories and experiences and complexities that people in the South are living with every single day. And you mentioned um, seeing the characters wearing the masks. Well, Ava was very clear about, Queen Sugar is a reflection of our society. And so as our society went through COVID, so did the characters, because we we pay attention. We want to reflect our viewers. We don't want to just, tell nice stories. We want to reflect our viewers and their lives so that they feel seen. And at the same time, we have this incredible family that makes the difficulties easier because of family. because of our commitment to one another. So, you know, that particular episode, I think it actually started off season 6, I think, and it 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 has done what Queen Sugar has seamlessly done from the very beginning. We don't sort of like focus on racism in a way that says this is racist, this is racist, this is racist.
That's right.
We tell the truth. We just put out people's experiences, and then you get to see what you call the complexities,
Hmm.
because being human is complex.
Absolutely. I want to talk about COVID for a minute. I ask people all the time because I believe we're going to have before COVID and after COVID, if there is ever truly an after. But like most horrific diseases, there is an after the worst part. But I want to know from everybody, what did you do during the period when you were on lockdown, when you had to be at home, when the world stopped in many ways? And I know you do so much spiritual work with your inner fitness work. I'm curious for you yourself, Tina Lifford, what did you do in the depths of COVID and how did you take care of yourself?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, and it's beautiful because COVID COVID gave me the opportunity to truly um, launch, step into, and be of service to lots of people. If it weren't for COVID, you know, then the work that I have been doing for years would not have the sort of robust energy that is behind it today. Between my book, The Little Book of Big Lies, which came out in 2019, November ish,
Right
right?
before, I
Right,
remember.
exactly. And so that book, you know, it has been a sleeper of a book. Just more and more and more people, have read it and passed it along.
And tell us what it's about, Tina.
Yeah. So the Little Book of Big Lies, it, I define the word lie in the Little Book of Big Lies as any person, event, or experience that we have encountered that left us feeling less than, not good enough, disconnected from ourselves, or afraid of knowing ourselves. Any experience like that is
Mm.
a lie. So, what that teacher said, or that embarrassing moment that you had, or that abuse that you encountered, or that, first heartbreak, or second heartbreak, or any heartbreak, any event in our lives that left us disconnected from ourselves and less whole is a lie. And the Little Book of Big Lies, through 11 questions, helps the reader realize that indeed we are more than the events that take place in our lives. And when we know that we're more, and we invest in our self with that capital S,
Yes.
then we can indeed stand in front of difficult circumstances, but not lose ourselves. In fact, we can take difficult circumstances and reclaim ourselves through them. And
What
the
a perfect message as we walked into COVID.
exactly. And so, Harriet, what happened was, women started finding the my website, and we started doing a Wellness Wednesday. I did some work with Iyanla, with Love from a Distance, for several months, and then I just, I've always had this vision of, you know, inner fitness should live in the world the same way physical fitness lives in the world.
Yes.
We all engage in some level of physical fitness consideration every single day, and we can and should be doing so with our inner fitness. And so the Inner Fitness Project is committed to making that as actionable and as easy to embrace as physical fitness is.
Hmm. Which is interesting because for many, physical fitness is easy to embrace. But I'm going to say, I was just with a woman today on set for an interview, and the hair and makeup woman, and she's a big woman, and she said to me, during COVID, all I did was sit and eat. And she told me that she weighs more than 300 pounds, and she's just feeling stuck. And I can tell you, people of every background, but in particular a whole bunch of Black folk, have sat and sat and sat and not felt that they could move. Just the physical part, inertia has set in.
Yeah.
And to get up and move is often even more difficult than to sit down and pray or meditate.
You know, Harriet, what you're saying is so important because um, in order for us to live a quality life, there are three things that we must have. We must have a want. We must have a desire that is beyond the inertia, that is beyond the habit that we have engaged in up until now. If we don't have a want, then we're not going to have the motivation necessary to move forward. So we need a want, then we need better information. This woman that you're talking about, she, I feel for her because,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Sure, being overweight is not a good thing. It's not good for your health. But if she truly had more information about what is happening inside of her body, but even more importantly, if she had the information that that weight more than likely is attached to some lie that
Mm,
she
mm,
ingested in her past, then she would have, it's not about just going to the gym. Part of that
right.
motivation that is necessary comes from realizing, oh my goodness, I am not broken, I'm hurt.
Mm,
Oh my goodness, this thing that happened to me that I was, told to just get over, or because I didn't know how to process it, I just stuffed it. This thing doesn't have to own me the way it has owned me up until now. And so, if you have a want and you have better information about who you are, not what you look at in the mirror, but
right.
who you are inside, what your capabilities are, and to just understand that if you're not living the life you want to live, it's because of something that has robbed you of your motivation and your
Mm,
sense of what's possible for your life. And then the third thing is, once you have a little more information, you don't have to even understand it all, just a little more information. You take that information and you put energy behind it, just trying to understand it. Just let it, live in your mind. Just be curious about it. Because better information means you are closer to truths, and
mm.
truths transform our lives.
That's powerful. See, I knew you would have something good to tell me about that time during COVID. And even more, just being able to offer a lifeline to, I'm going to share this with that particular woman, but I hope everybody who's tuned in right now is listening, because so often We all have hurts. We all have pains. We all have things that we are going through, things that have occurred in the past and things that are happening now. And, my mother always says, choose the positive, find something good in whatever the moment is. And at 92 years old, even now, even recently, when she had some significant health scares and we didn't know what was going to happen, she found joy in the day.
Well,
We smiled together over a tiny little thing that made us happy. And then a week later, she was out of the hospital going to a family event, wearing her red lipstick and her earrings, being like, yeah, baby, I am here.
yes.
Just the resilience that comes also from a positive attitude that's so important.
So, Harriet, what you have just said is so important, and I would love, um, to just share very quickly a couple of
Please.
statistics so that your mother's comments can be contextualized
Mhm.
as they're not just positive thinking comments; they are real science. Okay,
Yes.
here's some statistics. We think between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day.
Mm.
Of that thinking, 80% is negative.
I've heard that. That is so crazy.
95% is repetitive. And the reason that is, because we are working with nervous systems that have been evolving through millennia, right? So 500 million years and counting. So we are predisposed to focus on what's wrong and what's dangerous and what's bad because it's been an evolutionary way of, surviving.
Yes.
Now, science is also seeing that, that reptilian brain, which is the survival brain, the frontal cortex is the brain that actually centers us more in ourselves, and I'm going to say more in God.
Yes.
And we all have this frontal cortex. And guess what? The frontal cortex operates, it beams. If you put it under, an imaging, it beams, it gets stronger when you've got emotions or thoughts, like hope and a sense of possibility and enthusiasm and compassion and love and forgiveness, and just those are very potent internal energies that have the ability to actually interrupt that surviving self habit.
Mm.
And so, if someone calls you, a Pollyanna or, Miss Positive, you take pride in that because
Yes.
it takes a lot of energy to meet and interrupt the default nature of the reptilian brain, which has us focus on what's wrong and what's problematic.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. That you may know this psychiatrist, Dr. Janet Taylor. She does a lot of talking and teaching in the public eye as well as on her couch as a psychiatrist. But she has shared that particular fact with me a few times, which is just every time I hear it. Now you've said it. It just resonates in such an odd way because of the way I was reared. My family said you have to be positive. You just have to choose that, and that is a muscle
Yes.
that I have developed. It's probably the strongest
Yes.
muscle I have.
That's right.
And there's some other muscles I need to work on now,
Mhm.
but that particular one is strong.
Yes.
And to understand, it helps also, Tina, to have compassion for people who are
A-
stuck in the negative
Absolutely.
because it's suggesting that the thoughts are overwhelmingly negative. So it's easy to get stuck in them and
Absolutely.
harder to climb out and stay in the positive. But we must. We
I,
must.
literally, if we want more for our lives, then we are incumbent. It is incumbent upon us to actually invest time and attention in discovering the part of ourselves that is stronger than this default, and then exercising it. You mentioned the woman who is overweight,
Yes.
and and you mentioned it um, when I said that I want inner fitness to be as actionable and as uh, easily understood as physical fitness.
Right, right.
The thing that the parallel that I really love in what you said about her story is it doesn't matter, um, at least in this conversation, that she is 300 pounds. What matters is that she knows there's enough information out here that she knows that there's a way out if she chose it. She
Yes.
knows, she knows that she is making choices that go against her health. We need to at least we need to equip a society at least with the knowledge of what is well-being behavior. What are the components of well-being? And if you decide, for whatever the reason, to not opt in right this moment, at least you've got that information that you can turn to at any moment and begin to transform your life. And up until now, we haven't had that sort of, you know, understanding of what supports wellness or well-being the way we know what supports,
Yes.
physical
Physical.
strength and wellness.
So, Tina, let's talk about that. What, if you were to give us a few gems that we can follow of what supports wellness, what can we do today to develop a wellness attitude, to put into action things that support our well-being? What would some of those things be?
Fantastic question. So I would start with, so many of us claim to believe in a higher power. Well, let's just start with the simple statement that God don't make junk. There's so much, thinking against oneself, so much judgment against oneself, that self-judgment makes it very easy to default to the something's wrong with me, something's wrong with life mindset. So every single time you see yourself judging yourself or someone else, interrupt that, because it's a terrible habit that actually centers you in negative thinking and against yourself thinking, and that causes inertia. That makes it really difficult to get up and over. So I always offer this phrase: up until now and from this point forward.
Oh, yes.
So up until now, that's how it's been. Up until now, you've treated yourself poorly. Up until now, you have eaten unconsciously. Up until now, you have been insecure and felt unworthy. But from this point forward, it can change for the better. And when we say that, you can literally feel
Yes.
a sense of possibility.
Yes, it's true. You sit up taller,
That's
take a
exactly right.
take a deeper breath.
That's exactly right. The energy feels good.
It
It
does.
it strengthens you. Number two, tell yourself the truth.
Mm.
You don't have to tell anybody else, but if you tell yourself the truth, then, and the truth is what happened, how you feel, and then the most important is what's possible now, right? If you tell yourself the truth, then you don't keep the lock on Pandora's box. You
Mm,
know, when we don't speak to the boogeyman gets bigger.
that's true.
The boogeyman feels overwhelming and we feel small. And there's something in, and just like you felt that little
Yes.
opening, right?
Mm-hmm.
You, if you, at the end of your day, or even in the midst of a challenging moment, if you simply tell yourself the truth, like I feel scared, I feel overwhelmed, I feel, like, these thoughts in my head are driving me crazy. Acknowledging what is so for you sends a very deep message to your unconscious self, that says, that a subconscious self that says, okay, we know where we are.
Yes.
We know where we are. We may not like where we are, but we know where we are, which means we are we are operating from our sane mind. We're
Mm,
operating from that frontal cortex. We're able to see ourselves. If we can see ourselves, we can hold ourselves. And again, you don't have to tell the truth to anybody else. You can work
tell it
up
to
to that.
yourself.
Tell it to yourself. Really important.
Beautiful. That's
And then,
beautiful.
the staple is finding gratitude in the moment, because I guarantee you, if you look for grandma's, silver lining, if you think about grandma's notion that you can take lemons and make lemonade,
Yes.
you will experience the moment that you were in from that mindset. And
It
again,
works. The
again,
door opens when you see an open door. When you imagine an open door, right? Isn't it so? Tina, how can people find more about your work?
I'm real easy. Follow me on Instagram. I'm always talking about inner fitness, and my handle is at Tina Lifford. And then my website is theinnerfitnessproject.com. And truly, if you want your life to feel better, and from this point forward be better, read the Little Book of Big Lies. It
It's a
has
powerful little
transformed
book.
a lot of people's lives.
And what's next for Tina Lifford? What are you working on now?
Well, I have book number two. I'm writing book number two right this moment. Queen Sugar is completed. I'm in New York right this moment, doing press for Queen Sugar. And I'm looking forward to that next character that, of course, my prayer and ask is that it be as rich and as much of a contribution to viewers as Aunt Vi has been for 7 seasons.
Hmm. Wow. We look forward to what's next. I look forward to watching the rest of this season. It's still on
It's
TV
good.
right this
It's
minute, and
really
it is
good.
good,
You
and
should
I'm enjoying it.
definitely tune in.
It is
And if folks don't know it, you can access everything on Hulu and OWN.
that go right to the beginning and go forward, and it's worth watching and rewatching. The stories are so rich. Tina, it's always a pleasure and honor to talk to you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do for our community and for your craft. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Harriet. It's great to spend time with you again.
Same here. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We so appreciate you. It was wonderful to talk to Tina. I want to share a story with you before we go. Yeah, I think about my mother every day, but talk about her a lot too. And, when we were just together during this period when she's 92, so she's frail. She'll be 93, God willing, next month. And she taught us from the beginning about having a goal and working toward the goal and staying positive. And goal setting has made such a difference. When you have it in your mind that there's somewhere you want to reach, that there's something that you want to accomplish, you can pull yourself out of anything, out of sadness. Literally, you can pull yourself out of depression. You can pull yourself out of fatigue, out of illness by having a goal and reaching for that goal. I watched it 2 weeks ago with my own mother. I want to say to all of us, no matter what, while you are taking a breath, there's an opportunity for you to reach and just leap into next, into whatever that greatness is that is within your heart, your spirit, and your life. You can do it and you're worth doing it. So, as Tina just described to us, don't give up. Tell yourself the truth, practice gratitude, and don't forget to reach for the greatness that is within you that you can offer to others. Thank you for spending this time with me. And until next time, have a great day and make it count.